Alright, so we've covered several different types of equations. We've done one-step, two-step, multi-step, and now we're going to do multi-step equations that have variables on both sides of the equal sign. Write down this title. Again, the notes are just going to involve, I believe there's 7 of them, so let's get started. Here's the first one. We're going to solve this equation. Write it down. And you'll notice the first thing you notice is that you have variables on both sides. In order to solve these when you have variables on both sides, and this is a pretty simple one, we're going to move the variables to the same side. So if I have a variable over here, I want to move this variable over to the other side. And then I want to move this constant, this is called a constant, over to this side. And the way you do that is by doing inverse operations to both sides of the equation. Okay, so let's start. First, I have a 6k and I have a 2k. I'm going to take the smaller one, and this is a positive 2k, so in order for me to move it to the left side, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. So whatever I do to one side, remember you always have to do to the other. So I'm going to subtract it from this side, and that means it zeroes it out, goes away, and I have a 13 here. And then I'm going to do 6k minus 2k, that's 4k minus 3. Now I want to move the 3 over to the right side, and the way that I do that is I'm going to do an opposite operation, which is adding 3 to both sides. This eliminates that. I bring it over here. I have 16 now, and I have 4k equals 16. And you know what to do here. You just divide by 4. So k then is equal to 4. And we can double check. So 6 times 4, that's 24. 24 minus 3, that's going to give me 21, is equal to 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 plus 13, that's 21, so it checks out. Let's try another one. Okay, so write this problem down. It's very similar to the other one. Remember, on a simple one like this, when you have variables on both sides, we want to move one of the variables to the other side, and then I want to move the constant to the opposite side. Alright, so let's start. We have 3m and we have 9m. I'm going to go ahead, this is a positive 3m, I'm going to subtract 3m from both sides. That is eliminated. I'm left with a negative 5 here, is equal to 9 minus 3 is 6, 6m plus 7. Now I want to move this 7 over to that side, and the way I do that is by doing an opposite operation. So I subtract 7, subtract 7. This is eliminated. I get 6m is equal to a negative 12. I divide by 6, so m is equal to a negative 2. And I can double check that. 9 times a negative 2, that's negative 18. Negative 18 plus 7 is negative 11. 3 times a negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 5 is also negative 11. So it checks out. Alright, problem 3 has fractions in it, and I'm going to show you a really cool way to deal with these fractions. So write this problem down. When you're dealing with fractions, instead of working with the fractions, one thing that you can do, and I've kind of talked to you about this before, but this is a little different, is I want to clear the fraction. I want to clear these fractions. I don't like them. So in order for me to get rid of these fractions, what I can do is I can multiply the entire equation by that denominator. The denominator is 5. So I'm going to multiply every single term in this entire equation by 5. So watch how this works. If I multiply 5 times 2/5 n, I'd have a 1 here. The 5's cancel, and I would get 2n. Then I'm going to multiply this 5, just the 5, times the negative 9. Well, what is 5 times negative 9? Negative 45 equals, And now I'm going to multiply the 5 again on this side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I do 5 times 7, that's 35. And then I'm going to do 5 times a negative 3/5. Well, if I have a 1 here, the 5s will cancel, and I'll get negative 3 and bring down your n. So now I've rewritten this equation by eliminating the denominator in the fraction. Now I have variables on both sides. So I have a 2n here, and I have a minus 3n. So I can let's move the one to the right. So let's add 3n, remember opposite operations, add 3n to that side, and add 3n to this side, draw your line. You get 5n here, minus 45 is equal to, now these n's are canceled, and it's equal to 35. Now I'm going to move this 45 to the other side, do it inverse operations, add 45 here, add 45 there. That goes away, and I get 5n is equal to 80. Divide by 5, and you get n is equal to, I think, 16. So that would be your answer. And I'm not going to check this one, but you could if you wanted to. All right, let's move on to the next problem. Number 4, another simple one. So let's see, we have variables on both sides. So I've got a negative 2p and a positive 4p. So this time, instead of subtracting the 4p, I'm going to do from the left because it keeps me from having negatives. If I go to the left and if I add 2p to both sides, the p on the left is eliminated now. And I have positive 6p here. I'm left with 8 there, and I'm subtracting 10. Now I want to move the 10 to the left side, so I want to move this 10 over here. So I will add 10 to both sides, draw my line, that's eliminated. I get 6p is equal to 18, divide by 6, p is equal to 3. And I can check that if I want. I can do 8 minus 2 times 3, that's 6, so I get 2 as that side. And then I can do 4 times 3, which is 12. 12 minus 10 is equal to 2 over there, so that checks. All right, let's do some more problems. All right, here's number 5. Again, I think we have 7 of these. So look at this problem. Notice that on the right-hand side that we have 7c and 2c. Before we can do anything, we really need to combine like terms. So over on the right, I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to use blue. So I want to combine the 7c and the negative 2c to make 5c and bring down that 14. So now I have to always combine like terms, if possible, on either side before you do your other operations and the other steps. So we're going to do the same thing we've done before, and you can try this and check it. I need to bring the 5c over to the left, so I'm going to subtract it from the right and subtract it from the left. So this is canceled. Bring down the negative 14. 8 minus 5 is 3c plus 1. Then I want to subtract the 1. So that goes away, and I get 3c is equal to negative 15. Divide by 3, and c is equal to negative 5. And you can check if you want. All right, number 6. All right, so what do you notice about number 6? Number 6 has the parentheses. So before we can do anything, we need to do distributive property and combine like terms. So let's do distributive property first. So I'm going to multiply that negative 7 times t. So I get 5, multiply, I get negative 7t. Multiply the negative 7 times the 1, I get negative 7. So the parentheses are now gone. All right, and now I need to combine like terms. So that's our next step, is to combine like terms. So I have a 5 and a negative 7. So a 5 and a negative 7 makes negative 2. So I have a negative 7t minus 2 equals negative 10t. plus 3. Now I've got variables on both sides. There's one and there's one. So I want to get the variables on the same side of the equations. I can do either one. I don't have to do the left one or the right one. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to go ahead and do the right. I'm going to add 10t to both sides. Draw my line. This is eliminated. Bring down your 3. Add those together. I get 3t minus 2. Now I've got a simple equation. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So this goes away and I get 3t is equal to 5. Then I divide both sides by 3 and t is equal to 5/3. Now this is a fraction. I can leave it in improper form, and I'm kind of surprised. I hope I did this correctly because we don't always get fractions as answers, but it's okay if you get a fraction. You can leave it as 5/3 or you can do 1 2/3, either way. Alright, number 7, our last one. Alright, this is a fun one. We've got parentheses on both sides, variables on both sides. So let's get started. We want to get rid of the parentheses. Write the problem down. We're going to do distributive property first. So I'll bring down the 5. I'll do distributive property here. 2 times k is 2k, 2 times 4 is 8. Then I'll do distributive property here. So I get 5k, distributive property there, negative 15 plus 10. Now I need to combine like terms. That's the second step. So I have a 5 and an 8. I'm going to get those together and it makes 13. 13 plus 2k on the left. Now I'm going to combine the negative 15 and the 10. So I get 5k minus 5. Now I have variables on both sides, so I'm going to get those together. If I subtract the 2k, if I subtract the 5k, I'll end up with a negative. So I'm going to subtract the 2k from both sides. This is eliminated. I have 13 left. Then 5 minus 2 is 3k. Now my next step would be, I want to get this constant over this constant. This is called a constant. I want to move it over. So I'm going to add 5. Draw your line and you get 3k is equal to 18. Divide by 3. So k is equal to 6. And you can check that if you want to. Alright, thanks for watching. Your assignment will be to do 2-4. And that needs to be done on notebook paper. You also need to do a whisk. When and where did you watch it? Summarize what you learned, and then give me any questions that you might have about this video. Thanks for watching.